All right, hello everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Kubernetes Cloud Provider Azure Community Meeting. This is October 21st here in North America, but it's already the 22nd for those of you in Asia. Welcome. So this is a Kubernetes community meeting, and as such, we're being recorded, and this will be posted to YouTube. We're all bound by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, and I expect us all to be nice to each other. That being said, let's get started. I pasted the link to the agenda and notes into the chat here for Zoom. You can bring that up, and if you wouldn't mind adding your name to the list of attendees. Is anybody willing to volunteer as a note taker?
My first time here, so no.
Appreciate that, Javier.
I can help.
Okay, thank you, Rita. Great. So let's get started. So what I wanted to do was start by walking through the project board and taking a look at it and seeing if it reflects the reality of what we think we are doing for 117 timeframe. So I'm just going to share my browser here. And we have a column here called backlog for 117. It has been sort of preliminarily populated, but what I'd like us to do is kind of go through it, validate that these are things that need to be worked on in this time frame, and then take a look at the backlog and maybe look at if there are any other cards. So it looks like all of the cards are at least in the backlog, at least from the cloud provider Azure repo. We should probably also look at the Kubernetes issue log and see if there are other cards that also need to be added. Does that sound like a good plan for folks, or are there any urgent items that folks want to add to the agenda before we get going?
I'm mostly learning about what you guys do, so I will just listen in quietly.
Okay, thanks, Javier. Normally, we welcome new people to the group. Actually, I forgot to do that before we got going here. So since you are new to the group, I think everybody else here has been introduced. Maybe you could introduce yourself to everybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody already knows who you are, but I'm not sure about that.
No, there are new faces here, so I don't think I know everyone.
Okay,
my name is Javier. I work for the Azure Stack team, mostly bringing Kubernetes to Azure Stack. Right now, we have our own fork of the cloud provider. I would like to change that and have the same code base for both platforms, but I need to get more information about the project first to see how easy or hard that is, and also trying to learn how is 117 going to look after external cloud provider is finally the only supported way of having cloud provider controllers. That's correct. The 117 is the latest Hypercube.
it's gonna take it's the latest Hypercube, yes.
Okay.
Actually, they've already stopped building Hypercube in 117, but the cloud provider is still available in tree. The cloud providers have not all been extracted yet. There are still some blocking issues.
Okay. Anyway, that's pretty much the reason I'm here.
Great. Welcome, Javier.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first issue in the current backlog is that the cAdvisor endpoint is taking too long to return metrics for Windows nodes. Patrick is not here. Has anybody else on this on the call observed this or have any opinion about this?
Yeah, this is actually because the underlying API call is very slow. So I don't say we can do any improvement until some fixes could be added into probably in HNS or in Docker API.
So it's actually the root cause is in the HNS or the Docker API, you're saying?
Yeah.
Can you comment on the issue? Is that possible? It looks like you have assigned Patrick.
I think Patrick should already know the reason.
Okay, so I'm going to move it out of the 117 since the underlying API calls in Docker, and you said HNS shim. Okay.
Right. So probably we add some more caches.
Oh, is this a possible solution to do some caching in the cloud provider layer?
In the kubelet.
In the kubelet. Okay.
Yeah.
And I hate having everybody watch me type, but that's just, yeah, do this. Great. So I'm going to move it back into the backlog. Okay. Add validation for Azure authorization.
Yeah, so this is for adding more engine test cases. So then we can validate each method won't be broken in the future code changes.
Okay. And should somebody, so this is something that can be accomplished without any cap or anything like that. We can just do it in testing.
Yeah.
Should somebody be assigned to this? Is somebody ready to pick it up, or is it just ready to be picked up? Do you have an opinion on that, Pengfei?
No, this could be added. I think it could already be added by provisioning different AKS engine cluster. I think all of these authentication methods are already supported in AKS engine.
Okay.
So we just need to add the engine test into the cloud provider Azure repo.
Okay. And I guess my question though is can we assign the issue to somebody, or should it remain unassigned for now? Fortunately,
yeah,
I don't seem to have.
Have an intern or work on this.
Okay.
I would confirm with him.
It looks like I don't have permissions to assign anybody in this repo yet.
Not yet, because he is fixing another issue, the regulation for VMS instance view. So some properties are missing since Kubernetes 1.16.
Yeah, I saw that was merged this morning, or your morning. Do you have a question, Javier?
Yeah. So if anybody else was to take this, the issue might benefit from some more specific details on what we want to achieve, because it's too broad. Make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
what exactly I don't know. Maybe because I'm lacking context, it's not obvious to me.
Okay, we can add more context here. So if you see any issues labeled with can testing, then it is used for validation. So validation for that scenario won't be broken by some code changes.
Sorry, was that a question?
No, it was a
Okay.
statement that
Okay.
that is essentially it's kind testing, and want to add that to the set of tests. And so I guess the question is there enough information in the issue for somebody else to pick the issue up and fix it? And the answer is no, there is not. And if I understand, Pengfei, you agreed to add some more context so that it would be appropriate for somebody else to pick it up. Did I understand correctly, Pengfei?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing we're going to have the same situation for add validations for Azure node resources.
Yeah, the node resource, so the root tables, the provide ID, the public IP, the private IP. So we need to validate those properties are correct by comparing the node object from Kubernetes and the virtual machines or the public keys from the Azure API. So we need to compare them and make sure they are same.
And this is, and we need to do this for 117 because something changed, or is this?
Yeah, this is because actually we upgrade the Azure Go SDK and the API version regularly because of various issues. But sometimes the behavior may be changed by the API, but we didn't notice. So there may be some regression when we're doing the SDK or API version upgrades. So we need to validate all of this to ensure it's not broken.
Okay, got it. So kind of similar to the issue that was just fixed, which was there was the one that was just fixed, so we'll look at it a little bit later. Okay, kubectl Azure AAD authentication should handle refresh token timeout. So
I'm not sure what's the detail. Refresh token timeout. Okay. I think no one is working on this now.
Yeah, so somebody moved it into the 117 backlog. Is anybody on the call who has an interest in this particular issue? Okay, then I would propose that we move it back into the backlog. Does anybody agree with that or disagree with that?
I don't have an opinion. So yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're focused on the high priority things. I'm sure this is important to someone, and we will hear about it and we can adjust. Okay, Azure file premium persistent volume fails due to HTTP 400 error.
No retries permitted. This is a rate limiting problem.
I am not sure. That's a nice hypothesis.
I think that's a safe hypothesis for almost all the issues.
No retries permitted until sometime. Failed to create share Kubernetes dynamic PVC.
So is there?
Andy have a comment. Have a comment on that. The smallest size of Azure premium files is 100. So that's the reason why the error happened.
Yeah, the error message then is not super clear or helpful.
Yeah, so we may need to improve the error message here.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Is that something we can assign to somebody?
I think maybe Andy could work on this.
Okay, it seems like an extra small change.
Do you guys have a tag for or label for help wanted or good first issue?
Yeah,
Okay.
And can you assign that then, McFay? And it looks like there's an action item. Someone needs to give me the proper permissions in the repo so that I can add labels and assign issues.
Yeah, I just added the label, the good first issue.
Okay, great. So do you have permissions on the repo to add me to the maintaining team?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll take that offline and I'll figure out how to do that.
Okay.
Should you change the issue title, Craig, to improve
think I-
error message instead
I
of? Okay.
That's a good point. I don't think that I have permissions to do that.
No.
I do not. So
No.
Okay.
Doesn't.
We can leave a comment.
will somebody in parallel leave that comment, please?
Oh.
Are you at a keyboard, McFay, so you can leave that comment, or shall I?
Okay. Let me add a
I
comment.
got it. Oh, you're doing it. Okay. Support large clusters without throttling. Yes, this is a big one. Okay. So is there anybody on the call who would like some background on this issue?
Yeah. So I think you can open the issue.
Yeah. I was just wondering if anybody is not already familiar with this issue. It could be that everybody's already familiar with it.
Yeah. So for larger clusters or smaller cluster with too much operation, we have observed many throttles because of from the error arm or CIP. So this is because error platform have very limited request throttle values. It's 12,000 read requests per hour in the whole subscription. So we also observed that many customers are running multiple Kubernetes clusters, maybe 10 clusters within the same subscription. And also we have also observed some customers using many virtual machine skill sets within one single cluster, like 600 virtual machine skill sets within a single Kubernetes cluster. So with all of these cases would match the throttling issues because the read request is too small through the single subscription. So this item is aiming to make some changes, make some improvements to support large clusters without any throttling. And even the throttling happened, we need to make sure we're reporting the useful error message for customers, so they can expect some they can make some expectations based on the error message. So there are some work items listed here to fix the issue. Mainly there are 4 items. The first one is honor the retry after headers and get rid of GoSDK silent retries. And the second one is switching to list API instead of get for virtual machine skill sets, virtual machines, and virtual machine skill sets, virtual machines. The second one has actually already been done and trafficked to the latest patch releases for each release. The third one is reuse the outdated caches on throttling. So when throttling happened, we couldn't get any information from ARM API. So we can consider reuse the cache data to ensure the Kubernetes continue working And the last one is extend the cache TTL from 1 minute to 10 minutes. So with 10 minutes, the cloud provider could cache the data for 10 minutes. So less requests would be made. This change has also been merged in master and cherry-picked to latest patch releases. So there are actually two large changes, the 2 and the 3. So we may still need some changes in cloud provider, in Azure SDK client-side code to make sure the large clusters would work.
It sounds like one is something you want to do regardless, even if you don't have the issue.
Yes. I mean, actually, a lot of these things are things you'd want to do.
Yeah.
Several of them are things you'd want to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
one piece of news, I believe, is that the AKS engine release from today includes those fixes that have already been merged in from last week. So
you mean
already,
the V2?
yes.
Yeah.
And so there's some
cloud
I think
provider
it-
also supports the V2 backup mode, which would use the Go SDK internal backup. That backup would honor the retry after headers, but I don't think it would fix all the issues here, because there are some weird behaviors from the Go SDK, such as the 49 infinite retry issues. So we and also sometimes the retry after header is too long for us. For example, we have observed sometimes the Kubernetes cloud provider would stuck for 15 minutes without any action. So that is also not expected from the client side.
So, Anish, you're on the call, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been doing some work also related to this, or at least testing today. Is that right?
Yeah. So in addition to these changes, one other thing that we are looking at is there are a couple of calls in the cloud provider which can read stalled cache. So they don't really need the fresh data, like for instance, the instance ID, the node name, and all those things. Even if the cache is expired, they can still read from the cache. And also one other thing that we looked at is the reconcile loop for the disks runs every minute, which could result in a large number of calls. And what we think is during the reconcile loop, it's not really necessary that we have to actually go fetch from the cloud to verify the disk is attached or detached every time. Because when we do an attach or detach, we invalidate the cache and it's updated in the next reconcile loop. So I have a WIP PR that I've been testing out basically to reduce the number of calls. And I think we've seen significant improvement in the number of calls over an hour. And one thing that we are trying to tackle right now is what I'm seeing is when you have a cluster with a single scale set and 100 nodes, when you try to create a load balancer, it actually hits the rate limit. It's because when we try to update the NIC, we try to do it per VM instance of the VMSs, and all the calls are launched in parallel, which hits the rate limit. So we've reached out to the load balancer team, and I think we probably need to discuss that a little bit more. But yeah, I think the work item that we are doing right now is making good progress.
Okay. Is there an issue in GitHub for tracking that work, or is it something we should amend this one?
I think if you scroll down, it's in that issue, it's listed as one of the items. If you scroll all the way down. Yeah, they reuse the cache that won't change.
Got it. So you edited the body. Okay.
Yeah, and I've tagged the issue in my PR.
Okay. Fantastic.
So just to confirm,
that
Pingfei,
was-
earlier you mentioned the item 2 and 3 are still needed for provider Azure and Go SDK. I thought you already did 2.
No, it's only from the client code in cloud provider, not from the SDK.
Okay.
Okay, so there's still some work in progress. I think it would be really handy for all the people who are kind of watching this issue to have maybe, I don't know, probably Pengfei has the most complete view over all of it. If you could write a kind of a status comment. Is that a reasonable ask, Pengfei?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's definitely work we need to get done in 117 and high priority. I think to reflect that, I might move it to the very top of the list. And we're running very short on time here, but there are 2 other issues listed here. Azure file premium persistence.
That's the one we just.
Error. That's the error message
Yeah.
one, sorry.
And the last one, yeah.
Last one. HTTP headers to ACR.
Right, we are not supported this year, so I think we may need to make some changes to add the HTTP header to ACI credential provider. This feature is actually asked by ACI team, so they can identify that how much requests have been made from Kubernetes.
I like that change. That makes good sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there bandwidth to work on this?
No, from my side, I'm not sure whether.
And but this would also be potentially another good first issue, right? It's not a complex solution. Like Javier, for example, would you know how to pick this one up?
Well, yeah, adding headers to your request is not rocket science.
Right.
So that's
Sorry,
totally fine.
I cut you off, Pengfei. You were going to say something about whether or not it'd be a good first issue.
I don't think so. It may need some more code changes, and it may also need to understand how ACI works.
Okay, then I think there's not enough context in the issue. Can you take an action to explain that then in the issue?
Yeah,
or assign that to somebody else?
Yes, yes. If someone else have the bandwidth,
I
don't think I have a bandwidth to do it.
To do the work or to do the description?
To do the work.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you can do the description, and then we can farm out the issue to someone else. That'd be very helpful.
Okay.
Okay, we're past the half hour. So what I ask everyone to do is to, we can continue grooming via Slack. So if there are other issues folks want to have moved into 117 or think don't belong there, please don't hesitate to mention them in Slack, and you can CC at me. So it's brought to my attention. Happy to consider any of those changes or things that need to be added to 117. Anything, I know there was one more agenda item. It was related to the fix that was just finished for the missing values for VMSS instance view. Thank you very much for whoever fixed that. Appreciate it. And there's a note that needs to be cherry picked into 116. Who has the action item to cherry pick that?
I have an intern would do that. So I think the PR could be sent out today.
Okay. Okay, so you don't need any action by anybody else to help take care of that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, I noticed there were a couple more names joined. Oh, Aziz is here again. Good, welcome. Good to see you on, Ernest. So thank you all very much. I look forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks, and don't hesitate to ping me on Slack or any other channel.
Bye, guys.
Have a great evening or morning.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good evening.